A video game is made and people become fans of that video game. Fan creates fan works based on their interpretation of that game. But there's nothing that expresses your love better than making a fan game based on whatever work you like. And today I want to cover a couple of fan games that I think will be interesting to people. Most of these fan games will probably be based on existing video games, but some of these will be based on like anime and some other stuff as well. But before that, if you like this video or any other video I make, please like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. Spreading the good gospel of high-tech lowlife really lets the YouTube algorithm know that I'm doing well. So a good portion of this video will feature fan games from this expo right here. This is the Sonic Amateur Games Expo, aka Sage. They host Sage every year, and there's a couple of great fan games that have come from Sage throughout the years, and this year is no exception. While they do host like demos for indie games that are upcoming, this video is focused on the fan games. And of course, not all fan games I've downloaded are from Sage, so do keep that in mind, but I would still check them out. And if you're curious about whether or not these run on Steam Deck, yes, these run on Steam Deck, and yes, I have a tutorial for them. Steam Deck Masterclass Volume 20. Spoiler alert, I use Lutris, and there's a very good reason why I do so, but it's explained in that video and it takes a long time, so watch that video first. So the first fan game I tried was of course Super Mario Bros. X2. One of the big highlights of Super Mario Bros. X2 is that not only can you create your own Mario levels, but you can create your own entire Mario games, Mario overworlds. Heck, there's even a way to make a Super Mario 64-esque hub world where you traverse in-game instead of through an overworld. Overall, it's a very good Mario Bros. Game, and heck, it's even co-op as well. But the main reason I talked about Super Mario Bros. X2 first was because we wanted to cover a fan game that's based on Super Mario Bros. X2, also known as Super Mario and the Rainbow Stars. Like, I've messed around in Super Mario Bros. X2 a few times and made some levels, but I didn't know that the engine was capable of all of this. It looks like a completely different game. It doesn't even look like it's based on Super Mario Bros. X2. As of the making of this video, the full fan game isn't complete yet, but there is a demo available with a couple of different levels, so I would recommend playing it because it's very solid. The next fan game I want to talk about is a complete recreation of Mega Man X8 as a 16-bit title. I will say this game isn't exactly one-to-one due to the fact that, well, essentially you can only play as Mega Man X, whereas X8 has a tag team system with 3 different characters. And of course, this remake feels more like the Super Nintendo Mega Man X games as opposed to Mega Man X8. But at the end of the day, it's a lovely crafted reimagining of Mega Man X8, and it is a great game on its own. Personally, I haven't finished it because I need more time in my life, but I still highly recommend this fan game, especially if you love Mega Man X. This one right here might not really count as a fan game as it requires a Sonic 3 and Knuckles ROM, but it is essentially a fan-made remaster. I'd go as far as to say it's better than Sonic Origins, though Sonic Origins does include Sonic 1 and 2 as well. Sonic 3 Air is a fan remaster with widescreen and some additional settings too. To be able to actually play this remaster, you need a real Sonic 3 and Knuckles ROM. You used to be able to buy all 3 Sonic titles through the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis collection on Steam. But of course, all 3 original ROMs were delisted when Sonic Origins was released. As it reads data from the Sonic 3 and Knuckles ROM directly, it's basically a one-to-one recreation, but in widescreen. And Sonic 3 and Knuckles is like the second best Genesis game, right behind Shinobi 3. Also worth mentioning is that Sonic 3 Air also supports mods, and there are a ton of mods. And of course, there are fan games that are based on non-video game works. Of course, to celebrate the upcoming Puella Magi Madoka Magica movie, Walpurgis Nacht Rising, we're gonna play a Madoka Magica fan game called Grief Syndrome. It's actually a pretty famous one. Believe it or not, I've actually covered it in a prior video. It's a sort of 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up. The game is pretty fun. It's not too deep, but you know what, it's whatever. I suppose the difficult part is that this is technically a commercial release, but it is quite difficult to find a place to actually buy the game legitimately. So of course, your best bet is to just Google it. The game itself is Japanese, but everything is in English. Everything. There's also a configuration executable that you can run to remap your buttons and whatnot, but it's in Japanese. And now it's time to talk about Zelda fan games, because we have a new Zelda fan game that takes the series in a different direction. The Legend of Zelda: Dungeons of Infinity. It's built upon the framework that A Link to the Past set up, but as a roguelike instead of a, traditional Zelda game. It just makes sense. I suppose the only real issue though is that due to its roguelike structure, it doesn't really play anything like a Zelda, aside from the moment-to-moment sword gameplay. And as such, you're really missing out on some of the better parts of Zelda, like the dungeon designs and the special items. And on that note, the only way to download this game is to join their Discord server, which, you know, more power to them, I guess, but really, you really should be hosting these on Discord servers only. These sorts of games should be made available to download in public, at least until Nintendo takes it down like they normally would, I guess. Yes, indeed, the game works quite well. And on the topic of fan reimagining, let's talk about Halo SBV3. It's not a fan game in and of itself, it's actually more of a mod for Halo 1. You know, the old Halo 1 PC port. It's difficult to find a legal copy of Halo, you know, the original PC version, which is required for Halo Custom Edition. It would have been a lot simpler if they made this version work with MCC, but I believe there are some technical difficulties from my understanding. Anyways, it's a complete reimagining of the original Halo. Lots of new additions like weapons from the later games, like the battle rifle and brute shot, and even armor abilities from Halo Reach. There is this one issue where animations run at 30 FPS, despite the game itself actually being 60 or higher. I do know that there is a fix for it, but I've yet to actually implement it because I kind of just wanted to get this video out of the way. The installation process was quite frankly insane, and I documented the entire thing, and I will need to organize my thoughts and figure out how to best explain it to you guys in a separate video, hopefully. And of course, no fan game list is complete without AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. You know, this actually came up before Nintendo's own Metroid 2 remake, you know, Metroid Samus Returns. It's one of the most polished 2D Metroid games altogether, maybe even considered to be the best Metroid game, which is a high praise for a fan game. But of course, it is quite difficult to get your hands on this game because it's been DMCA'd by Nintendo. You could find it on Google, but honestly, I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I don't want Nintendo to go after my channel, so yeah, there's that too. They have ported it over to Linux, but yes, you do need the original executable files to get the port up and running. Fan games are very important to the gaming ecosystem as a whole. As stated before, it's a great way for fans to show appreciation for whatever it is they love. But it's also a great insight into what the fans believe to be the most important aspects of whatever it is they like. At the end of the day, fans and developers always have their disagreements on what makes a certain IP special. And yes, some of these fan works turn out to be excellent games in their own right. Not just because they're attached to Metroid or Mario or Halo or whatever, but because these fan devs have some serious passion and they've actually put in some thought into what the game should be like. And unlike the Nintendo Switch or the Super Switch or whatever the heck it's going to be called, fan games are very easy to access on Steam Deck. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.